another devotional service. 1 second. Okay. So now I'll offer some prayers to the Vaishnavacharyas that have come before me. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining for today's discussion on Maitreya and Vidura's discussion. Here, Maitreya is appreciating Vidura for asking a very beautiful question regarding wanting to hear more about the pastimes of the Lord as Varaha and Nrsimha. So this is the theme of today's verse, is Maitreya appreciating Vidura, a devotee appreciating another devotee. And I think, again, this is such a perfect verse for us to land on today, because it gives a beautiful lesson and shows us the beauty of Vaishnava Sadachar, or how devotees of the Lord act with each other. They appreciate each other for even the smallest of things. So for asking the small question that Vidura has posed, that my dear Maitreya, please tell me more about the pastimes of the Lord. And my heart is not satisfied simply by saying something like that. Maitreya Muni has appreciated him so much. He says, "Oh warrior!" So he gives him a higher status by saying this. "Oh warrior, the inquiry made by you, this question that you just asked, is just befitting a devotee." So again, he's appreciating him because it concerns the incarnation of the personality of Godhead. Recently, I was watching a Prabhupada Memories DVD, and in it, I landed on one where Jayapataka Swami Maharaj was sharing his heart about a particular moment in his life that really, with Prabhupada, that really had a huge effect on him. And he decided to tell the story of how, I don't remember where, but Prabhupada used to give classes where Jayapataka Swami Maharaj was currently serving at the time. And he used to, at the end of every class, someone had told Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, it's always good to ask a question. So he had really kept this in his heart and mind. And so Jayapataka Swami Maharaj would always ask questions at the end of the class. Like this happened for a few weeks, and every day Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, during the early morning class, he would ask a question. And then one day, Jayapataka Swami Maharaj was pulled out of the class for some service, so he couldn't ask a question. And later that day, someone came up to him and told him, Prabhupada was asking about you today. And so Jayapataka Maharaj got very scared for a second. Oh, because Prabhupada was a very big authority at that time, so he got scared. Oh, why is Prabhupada taking my name? What must be the reason? And so Jayapataka Maharaj asked, what was the reason? And the other other devotee said, he was asking, where is that Jayapataka? I was looking for him today. He always asks good questions. And through all of the moments, crazy moments Jayapataka Samrat has gone through with his dear Gurudev, Prabhupada, he had picked that one moment where Prabhupada had said, he always asks good questions, to be that one moment that he shares with all of us, that one moment that he keeps with him through so much. So here we can see that this small appreciation meant so much to Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. And I can also say that even for me, when someone tells me, oh, that was a very good question, Survi, I feel, oh, yeah, I'm being appreciated. Yes, this Maharaj thinks I'm smart. This Maharaj thinks I'm a person who asks good question. And I don't think it has anything to do with ego or anything like that. I think we all just have a natural desire to be appreciated. And so this appreciation by Maitreya Muni, it's so beautiful, because it's not just, oh, very good question. It's the inquiry made by you is just befitting a devotee. He uses the word warrior also to push up Vidura Muni, to make him feel even better. So this appreciation of Maitreya Muni for even the small things of asking a question is so powerful, and it's so beautiful. So this is one lesson I'll be taking home, is appreciation matters. Appreciation of the small things matter. Appreciation especially of questions matter. So today specifically, Maitreya Muni is telling us about the activities of the Lord that help liberate one from the chain of birth and death. And one of the ways he does this is he addresses Vidura as a warrior, because he is anxious to hear about the chivalrous activities of the Lord. So in our previous chapter, we saw some great fighting of Lord Varaha. And I remember how Maitreya Muni described all of these pastimes of how Varaha is coming so quickly to the demon. The demon is also coming so quickly, and they're in great fighting, and they're smashing each other, and Lord Varaha is sweating, and they're all in intense warfare. And it's described in very deep detail. And so it's really very detailed in how this war between Lord Varaha and the demon Hiranyaksha is described. And those people who like to hear these war topics of the Lord are considered warriors, who have this warrior nature instilled in them. So they like to hear these kind of topics. So one other person I was thinking of who has this rasa, who has this relationship with Krishna, is Bhishma Dev. He also has this chivalrous attitude towards Lord Krishna. Arjuna, so many devotees have this warrior attitude, and they relate to Lord Krishna in that way. So Another connection I was thinking of recently was how we're talking about how the topics of Lord Krishna in war are very differently approached than the topics of our mundane war. And I thought that this was just very apt for today because there is a current genocide in Ukraine, and there's so much news being broadcasted all the time, and it's very depressing. It's very tough to hear, but it is happening. And so there is so much mundane warfare in this world, and something I was thinking was drawing the connection between the Battle of Kurukshetra and this war on Ukraine. It is said in the purport that the topics of warfare in which the Lord engages do not concern the war of death, but the war against the chain of Maya, which obliges one to accept repeated birth and death. So here in the Battle of Kurukshetra, everyone around is liberated by Lord Krishna's presence, simply by Lord Krishna's presence. But here currently in the war in Ukraine, one, that is not the case, and where there's also constant media, there's constant content about what is going on in Ukraine, and it's very tough to hear. I have a friend whose country of origin is Ukraine, and she posts on her stories about whatever is going on, and one, for me, it's very tough to hear, and I'm sure for her even, simply hearing all of this is so difficult. So difficult to hear about how all of these stories of how certain people are going through so much crisis, losing mothers losing their children. It's really very heartbreaking to hear. And it's very different than the warfare that we hear about in Krishna Lila. And I was thinking, why is that the case? Why is it that a devotee doesn't like to hear other things, other mundane things? Why doesn't he like to listen to other music, other things? Why does one only like to hear the glories of Lord Krishna? And I was thinking about this, and it made me think it's because devotees really love Krishna. So when we love someone, we want to hear more about them. We want to keep updates about them. We want to have constant contact with them. We want to keep in contact with them. So this is one way we do. And because Krishna is the most lovable person, and he's right in every way, it's natural for us to enjoy Krishna Katha, or hearing the talk about Lord Krishna. The leaders of both countries in the war are in hiding, while in Kurukshetra, the leaders in front were fighting. Yeah, that's another beautiful comparison Madhumati Prabhu has made between the Battle of Kurukshetra and the war in Ukraine. One is being fought face to face, like in Kurukshetra, while in another, the leaders are behind in the back with their own agenda, while so many people are put into so much chaos. And so here the fight is, like Madhumati Prabhuji is, I think I would like to conclude from what Madhumati Prabhuji is saying, is between the egos of so many powerful people. Whereas over in the Battle of Kurukshetra, it's a war of dharma, a war of righteousness, a war of bringing peace to the world, peace and righteousness. And so the final thing that is mentioned in this purport that I want to hit on is how Prabhupada mentions how the war the topics of the warfare in which the Lord engages do not concern the war of death, but the war against the chain of Maya, which obliges one to accept repeated birth and death. So I thought of this very literally like a chain that's binding us, that's holding us down. And the topics of the Lord act as a knife cutting through those chains and freeing us. And I was thinking how so many of us have so many wars that we are going through internally and externally. I heard recently that one of my devotee friends, her dad is not doing so well. I heard recently so many things about other people's health, and sometimes one of my friends is having a difficult time deciding what her major is going to be in college. All of these things are small wars. There's wars of the mind, wars that we have not in our heart. And so I'm sure we all are going through some sort of war in our hearts, in our minds, with our bodies, with other people, with the world. There's always going to be some conflict we are going through. That we all can find very difficult to overcome. We all have some kind of war like that. And so returning every time to this Krishna Katha, whatever the form may be, maybe it's listening to the pastimes of war of the Lord, maybe it's listening to the sweeter pastimes of the Lord. The Krishna Katha acts like a soothing balm because we find Krishna lovable. And when we find someone lovable, then life becomes sweet. Life becomes sweeter. And yes, life just becomes sweeter when we have someone to love. And when we have Krishna to love, who is all lovable, then just life becomes easier. It doesn't, all of our problems with the war with material nature, like our health or all these problems, like maybe our children or their grades or our health or our minds, none of that goes away. But when we have someone to love, like Krishna, who is all lovable, then life becomes a little more sweeter. And that's what I hope that grows from listening to more and more Krishna Katha for me in Srimad Bhagavatam class. Thank you all so much for listening. If there's anything anyone would like to share from this passage, I would love to hear. If there's anything I've missed, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Surbi. Please accept humble obeisance for all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. It's so nice to listen to you after a while. I like the point you made about appreciation. And appreciation is a two-way street. One is appreciation when we give it is also a sign of our humility because we're not really thinking about ourselves, we're thinking about the other person. So to appreciate is also an expression of humility, genuine appreciation, not flattery. And at the same time, there is a recipient. And as you mentioned, there is a natural inclination to get appreciated. However, I was thinking that what came to me is that it's like a razor blade edge that we are walking on when being appreciated. Even when someone genuinely appreciates us, because that tendency is always to inflate the false ego. Appreciation can very easily inflate the false ego. So when we are offering appreciation, it is we should do it in a genuine manner, not flattery. And when receiving appreciation, be cognizant of the fact that it could very easily inflate a false ego. One way to stop it from inflating the false ego is to understand that whatever ability is, not ours, it's the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. So it's only natural to offer that to their lotus feet, that appreciation that keeps us grounded. So I was thinking if there are any other ways that you or, devotees in the Sangha would have, how we could not let appreciation boost the false ego.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Prabhuji. I think that's a very beautiful connection you made. I've also heard that analogy about the razor blade and appreciation and not letting it inflate our egos, because then we think that we are the doers. I want to ask, does anyone have any practices that they take when receiving? I know all of us receive appreciation on the daily. Devotees, they give appreciation like it's water. So I'm sure everyone in this community has been appreciated at least once in the past 2 weeks. I'm sure of it. So does anyone have any tips or tricks how not to let appreciation get to our minds and hearts?
Hare Krishna. I think Srila Prabhupada, this matter mentioned, if we receive appreciation, it's not, we should think, the recipient should think that it's not appreciation of him, but of the Supreme Lord, whom he is representing. If we receive appreciation of some devotional service, it's the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So we should pass that appreciation to the Supreme Lord. That's one thing which I can share.
Thank you, Madhupati Prabhu. I see someone else unmuted. Gopikanta Krishna Prabhu, would you like to share? Or Kalini Mataji? Okay, I guess not. Yes. Yes, so Gopikanta Krishna Prabhu said it's nice, yeah. So yeah, I was also thinking similar. I wanted to share. I have one friend, her name is Mayuri. Some of you may know her. And she sings, her name is Mayuri Gandharvika, and she sings literally like a Gandharva. She has come to our temple during Radhastami once and she sang. And I asked her this question. You must get so many compliments. Like your YouTube videos are just filled with so many compliments about your beautiful voice and how beautiful you are. And don't you ever feel like it gets to you? Like, how do you like not keep that appreciation from getting to you? And she said the same thing that both Madhupati Prabhu and Amritanand Prabhu said about taking it as the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, as seeing it as Krishna's appreciation. So what Madhupati Prabhu said about it being Krishna's potency, I thought like, oh, we can understand that Mayuri's beautiful singing is just a small spark of the beautiful singing that Krishna will do in the spiritual world. I think that really, really spiritualizes how we see things. Thank you so much for sharing. And Krishna has been so kind that he's given this special potency, this special power to Mayuri to sing so beautifully. It's perfect if we say it that way, at least when I say. Thank you for sharing.
Okay. Yeah. Just some added note to that. Suchinam Shimantam Gehe Yoganaka Nasta. Yeah. So that verse is there that devotees would not complete the devotional service to the level where they can go back to God and they take birth in a pious family or a wealthy family. Mayuri's heritage also talks about it a lot. Being born in a devotional family. Yeah. Okay. That being said, we'd like to thank Surabhi Sundarachal Mataji with a wonderful enlightening class. Thank you very much. I'd like to wish you all a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead, and we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna 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 Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Shri Nrsimha, Jai
Jai
Nrsimha,
Nrsimha,
Jai
Jai
Shri
Nrsimha,
Shri
Jai
Narayan,
Jai
Nrsimha,
Bala Krishna Jaya
Radesha, Jaya Padma, Padma,
Veeram Veeram
Veeram,
Veeram Vishnu
Jalantam Satantam Kam, Shangam
Vishnu
Vishnambaram, Nityam Nityam Namami.
Aham.
Bhagwan ki Jai, Prahlad Maharaj.
Jai,
Jai.
Jai.
Let's offer our obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kapasindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Namo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Vaishnava
Jai,
Jai,
Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila ki Jai.
Jai,
Jai.
Jai Premanande.
Hari
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 Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, everybody. Hari Bol. Hare
Thank you for
Krishna.
being
Thank you,
wonderful.
Surabhi Mata.
Thank you,
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank
Hari
you,
Bol.
bro.